everyone, Kelly here, and today I wanted to share with you real quick my Reading Rush TBR. So if you don't know, the Reading Rush is a readathon that used to be called Booktubeathon, and it runs for a week between, I think it's the 22nd through the 28th of July. And I participated last year, and it's a lot of fun because there's like daily video challenges and things to do, and so I'm going to do it again this year. And I just want to share with you some of the books that I'm going to read. Some of these will overlap with middle grade magic. I have a couple that are from that TBR if you didn't watch that video, because that readathon runs to the 24th and this one starts on the 22nd, so I'm going to be overlapping a little bit. So let's get into it. So number one is a book with purple on the cover, and so I'm going to read Cancer Vixen, which is a graphic memoir by Marisa Acucello Marchetto, and this is about her experience with surviving breast cancer. So I'm interested to give this a try, and since it's pretty short, it's great for a readathon. And this also is probably going to be the one that I do for challenge 2, which is read a book in the same spot the whole time. And I know that they say you don't have to like read it all in one sitting, you can come back, but seeing as I don't actually have any furniture in my home right now, I don't necessarily have a reading spot yet. Like I'm mostly like listening to audiobooks or finding whatever place on the floor to sit on, or we have camp chairs that we're using until we have furniture. So I'm going to pick a short book so that I can just sit down and finish it without having to like try to figure out where I was the last time I was reading a book. Number 3 is to read a book that you meant to read last year. So I went through all my TBR videos from last year and checked out which book was on there the longest. And there's 2 books that were tied, but one of them was Jane Eyre, and that book is very long. I think my version is like 650 pages. And I figure being a classic and being that long, it wasn't great for a readathon. So I'm holding off on Jane Eyre. But the one I was tied with was The Red Notebook by Antoine Lorraine. And this one is nice and short. I think it's only 100 some. And that's why I had put it on several readathon. I actually think it was on my Booktubeathon TBR last year. And it is going to happen. Like, of all these books, I'm going to make this happen because it's kind of ridiculous that I think this was on like 5 different TBRs last year. And there's just no reason that I have not read it yet. And in case you didn't watch my channel last year, this is about a guy who finds a pocketbook, I believe, or purse, a bag. He finds a bag that belongs to what seems like to be a woman, and he's trying to find the owner to give it back to her. And then the next one is, number 4 is to read an author's first book. And I have 2 different options. I'm really in the mood for a thriller soon because, like I said, right before this will be middle grade magic. And for one, I haven't read a thriller really recently, and then I won't be reading a thriller during middle grade magic. So I'm gonna be by July 22nd really in the mood to read a thriller. So I'm picking one of these thrillers, but I'm gonna wait till that week because sometimes I just wanna know, I wanna give myself a little mood reading. So I'm choosing between In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, which I don't know much about this. I just know that Ruth Ware is one of those really popular thriller writers, so I wanted to check out her book. I've heard this one gets a lot of mixed reviews. Seeing as it's her first one, I don't expect it to be like amazing, but I do expect it to be a fast read, so I might choose that one. Or I might choose The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina, and once again, since it's her first one, it might not be as good as some of her more recent ones, but I'm excited. This is like a domestic thriller where I think a couple gets to know the couple that live next door, and there are issues happening. I don't really know. I don't look into my thrillers in too much depth, but both of those are really like famous thriller writers, and I've not read either of them yet, so starting with their first debut novel will be fun. Number 5 is to read a book with a non-human main character, and this is one I'm sharing with my middle grade magic because middle grade is a perfect age range to find books with non-human main characters, because often they have books from like different fantasy kind of people or animals. And so I'm going to be reading Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger, and I don't want to tell you what the main character is because it doesn't actually say it on the synopsis, but I've heard a lot of people review this, and so I found out what she is, and so I'm gonna keep it a secret because I don't know if you guys care, but it has a non-human main character. And then number 6 is to read a book with 5 or more words in the title. And for this, I'm going to do another middle grade book that I'm doing for middle grade magic, and that is The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James by Ashley Herring Blake. And this is about a 12-year-old girl who just recently had heart surgery, and so now she's kind of has a new lease on life and is trying different things. And it also is an LGBTQ plus book, middle grade book, so I'm really excited to read that, and I'm going to be listening to the audiobook. And then number 7 is a book to movie adaptation. And I actually have several options because I just don't know what I'm going to be in the mood for or what movie I can get a hold of. I think some of these are on Netflix, so I'll probably end up choosing one of the Netflix ones just so I don't have to like hunt down a movie. And it'll just depend on what I have time for, because some of these books are a little longer, and if I'm running out of time towards the end of the week, I'll probably just read the really short one and watch the movie instead of a thicker book. So one option is the one I physically have, which is Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. I know this movie is on Netflix. And then the other ones that is kind of a bigger book is The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society. And I know this movie is also on Netflix, and I've been meaning to watch the movie, but I always put off watching it because I think, oh, I should read the book first. So I'm like, well, maybe I should put this on my list. And I did get the audiobook, but it's like a 9-hour audiobook, so that might not happen during that week with all the other books that I am reading. And that one's kind of like I think it's like a historical fiction, maybe a little romance, stuff like that. And then I have 2 short options, which might end up being what I'll go with. One is The Hobbit. I have not read The Hobbit or watched any of these movies, and if I do pick The Hobbit, it'll also go for middle grade magic. And so if I already end up listening to The Hobbit for that readathon, I'll just count it for Reading Rush 2, and I'll watch the first movie. I don't think I'll watch all 3 of the movies in that week. And then the last one is Beauty and the Beast. I've never actually read the original story, and I think it's only like 100 and some pages long, and I can get it from Scribd, the ebook, so I might read that one and then watch one of the movies, either the cartoon or the newer what is that called, real life one that they put out just last year. I've watched both those already, so you know, this might not be the top pick because that's a movie I've already watched, but it is one of my favorite Disney movies, so I might end up going with that just because the book is short. So those are all of my options for the Reading Rush. I'll link my profile on the website down below, so if you are doing the Reading Rush and you want to friend me on their platform, I'll put my link to my profile, and I'd love to hear what you're going to read and if you're participating. Thanks, bye.